Some breaking news coming out of Rome. The Vatican have released a new image of the Pope. It shows the pontiff celebrating Holy Mass in the chapel of the apartment on the 10th floor of the Gemelli Hospital, where he's been treated now for more than a month. Sky's Lisa Holland is at the Vatican for us. Lisa, the first photograph then of the Pope in more than 4 weeks.
Yes, indeed, this is a hugely significant moment for the world's 1.4 billion Catholics avidly waiting for news of health of the Pope. This is a photograph which has just been released by the Vatican to us. And as you say, Jonathan, it is a photograph which is the first image that we've had of Pope Francis in over a month now. Remember that he was taken into hospital on Friday, February the 14th. And after that, we've not seen him at all. There's been tweets, there has been an audio message, we've had personal written messages as part of his weekly Sunday Angelus address, but not any kind of image. Now, taking a look at that image, it was taken today, we are told. It was taken in the adjacent prayer room during a mass, adjacent to the papal suite, which is on the 10th floor of the Gemelli Hospital, where we've spent much of today. What's interesting about it, I think, is that you can clearly see that Pope Francis is in a wheelchair to the bottom left of the picture. We know that for a long time now he struggled with mobility, and of course, whilst he's been treated in hospital, we understand, of course, has been essentially largely immobile. What you can also see is obviously the back of his head, but there doesn't appear to be any form of obvious use of oxygen in this moment. Now, we have been told, following these updates from the Vatican and Vatican sources over the course of these last 4 weeks, regularly he is supported by oxygen through nasal cannulas through the day, and then through a kind of oxygen machine over his face, particularly his nose and his mouth during the night. Now, quite whether the nasal cannulas were just taken off for a few minutes for this photograph to be taken or not, we don't know. However, you can see that his eyes are open, and that he is clearly participating in the prayer. We are told that he was participating in prayer with his medical team at some point today. Worth reminding ourselves that this is the first time we've seen him, that this is day 31 of his hospitalisation. But of course, that whole period in hospital has been a complete roller coaster period for Pope Francis, which has gone from times when his condition was described as critical. Now, currently, it is described as stable, but he is still and remains a very seriously ill 88-year-old man who is extremely fragile and is still suffering with pneumonia in both lungs. Remember, he was taken in on February the 14th, struggling with bronchitis. It's 5 weeks ago today since at this very spot Pope Francis was seen out in front of St. Peter's Basilica in the square there, taking part in a mass. He's struggling to breathe, and at that point handed over his homily for an aide to finish, and that was really the signal at the start of things 5 weeks ago that he was unwell. However, he does currently appear to be holding his own. His condition, as I say, is described as stable, and as I talk to you, you can probably hear the start of this evening's prayer service. It's been a regular focal point here at Vatican City that prayers have continued every single day, and it's every opportunity for Pope Francis. But I think that for Catholics, that image will be delighted upon really today, although it has to be said that having spent the day at the Gemelli Hospital, there had been a rumour that potentially Pope Francis would come to a window and wave to a group of around 100 children who'd gone there to wish him well. In the event that didn't happen, I think that's a sign of just how poorly he remains, that clearly his doctors told him it was not a wise thing to do.
OK, Lisa at the Vatican for now. Thank you very much. So the breaking news, the Vatican have released this new image of the Pope showing the pontiff celebrating Holy Mass in the chapel of the apartment on the 10th floor of the Gemelli Hospital, where, of course, he's been treated now for more than a month.